So another useful thing for criteria is the ability to use projections. Now this is going to be equivalent to basically the select part of an HQL or SQL query, except this is going to come at the end. So the easiest way to do this is just to call set projection, and then we're going to use a projection. So we can do projections dot, and you can see there's all kinds of things like distinct. We've got row count, average, count, and max, min, but we're just going to do something simple. We're just going to do property, and we're just going to do the ID property. So this will just give us the ID. It's like saying select ID. So if we run this, you can see we get the IDs 1 and 2. Now we can also add more than one projection by doing set projection, and then we can use this projection list. So if we do projections dot projection list, this gives us a projection list which we can add projections to. So we can add projections dot, and then here we could do our property, and we could put, for example, name, and then we could chain this again and do add projections dot property ID, and then we'll close this. And if we run this criteria, you can see we get Joe and Bob. And normally we would get back ID. We're just not seeing it in this tool because it doesn't show us the secondary projections. If we were to switch this order, we'd see ID and not name. But we are getting both of these back if we were to actually run this in our application. Let's go ahead and take a look at this in some code. I went ahead and took this criteria query that we created. I put it into our program so you can see it right here with our projections. And then what I'm doing is I'm calling list, and notice what comes back here. We actually get an array of objects, and then I'm going to loop through these array of objects, and then I'm going to loop through each object in that array. So what we should expect are these two properties, the ID and the name. We're only going to get back one result in this case. So when we print this out, we should see the ID followed by the name. Let's go ahead and run this. And now if you look at the console output, you can see we're getting 1 and then Joe. So when you do use these projections, you will have to deal with an object array unless you map this to some other object like we had done with the HQL queries earlier.